Yo, what is going on YouTube? Today we got ourselves another Escape from Tarkov video. Today, we're going to be going over some of the things that I like to think about whenever I'm trying to make money. This isn't one of those other loot guides that you find everywhere. I'm not going to be going over some loot runs or stash runs or anything like that. I'm just going to be talking about what goes through my mind whenever I'm trying to make some money. And some of the things that I like to think about that help me make more money and escape from Tarkov. So, strap in and let's get into the video. The first thing that I like to do whenever I'm going for money in Tarkov is to make sure that I am strictly going for money runs. What I mean by that is I don't go out of my way to go looking for PvP. If it finds me and I have to kill somebody along the way, then so be it, but I'm not going to go chasing gunshots or trying to just go for PvP or anything like that. Another reason why I don't go for PvP is because a lot of the items that you're going to get from players, like their weapon attachments and their gear and things like that, aren't going to be worth a whole lot of money in terms of what you can make just from finding things in raid. Plus that risk that you're going to take to fight those players is not really worth it. You have a chance of dying and you're gonna end up losing all the things you would have gotten if you would have just avoided that fight. I'm gonna be focusing on the mission, and that is to fill my backpack and get out, and do that for as many raids as I can in a row. That is truly the best advice I can give you, and that's the best way to make money in the game, is to just completely fill your backpack and get out and survive every single raid. If you haven't yet, then I suggest watching my how to increase your survival rate video, because it definitely can help a lot of new players in trying to increase their survival rate. That way they can make more money in the game. The very first piece of advice that I can give is to just fill your backpack with as much loot as you can and survive. Now that you can consistently survive raids, it's time to just learn to fill your backpack with as much loot as you can. Always make sure that every single slot in your backpack is filled before you end up leaving the raid. Regardless if it's only 1k ruble or 2k rubles worth of items, all those rubles add up and it will help in the long run. So make sure you fill your backpack before you leave the raid. What I like to do whenever I'm trying to fill my backpack up is I like to try to get at least 10,000 rubles per slot. For example, take a look at this tri-zip here. There are 30 slots in this tri-zip. 30 little squares. At minimum, you're going to make 300,000 rubles per raid. And that's bare minimum. If you end up filling those slots with 30,000 rubles or 20,000 rubles per square, then you can make even more. Up to 600,000, or you can make upwards to 1,000,000 rubles per raid. So make sure your backpack's filled, and make sure you try to maximize the value you get per square of your backpack and your rig. Another thing about looting is I don't like to loot weapon parts. The only weapon attachments that I usually loot are scopes, suppressors, and sometimes foregrips. Those are really the only weapon parts that are worth any value, especially if you're not familiar with what the meta gear is. So if you're going around and you're just looting a bunch of weapon parts, chances are you're going to be taking up a lot more space and not getting as much value as you can if you would pick up something else, like let's say a wrench or something like a screwdriver. Those items are going to be worth more money and they're easier to get, and you don't have to worry about whether or not this barrel for this AR is worth a lot of money or not, because chances are it's probably not worth as much as simple items such as tech loot or industrial loot. So I would avoid weapon parts and weapon attachments and just go for strictly industrial loot and tech loot. More often than not, those are going to be worth more money than the weapon parts that you're picking up. The only time I take weapon parts out is if I just need to fill like 1 or 2 slots in my inventory and I'm about to extract, so I just fill it up just to make sure that my backpack is full. But other than that, I would completely ignore weapon parts, except if you see a suppressor or a scope or something like that. If you are struggling trying to fill your backpack up before you leave the raids, I suggest that you take your time and you loot everything that you possibly can. That means toolboxes, duffel bags, stashes, anything that you come across that you can loot. I suggest looting it, because you never know what you're going to get out of stashes and duffel bags. It can be something great or it can be something crappy. Either way, it's enough that it's going to help fill your backpack, and you never know, you could get something extremely valuable that you need. So definitely loot those things whenever you can, and don't overlook things like toolboxes or small weapon crates or anything. Loot them all, because every single piece of item that you take out of raid for you is going to be worth at least something, whether it's 1k ruble or 40,000 ruble. It doesn't matter. Loot everything that you can and take out as much loot as you can every single raid. Don't overlook anything that is lootable. Even things like little small medical containers, things like saline and meds are even worth a lot of money, and you have a chance of even getting something like a lead X, which is worth 1,000,000 rubles for 1 slot. The last piece of advice I'm going to talk about is something that I used to do whenever I first started playing Tarkov, and that is I used to hoard everything that I got, all the guns, all the gear, and everything like that. And honestly, that just held me back from making a lot more money than what I should have in my stash. What I mean by this is you don't need to keep every single gun and every single piece of gear that you bring out of raid. It is okay to sell those things, especially if they are level 4 armor and level 4 armored rigs, or if you are hoarding a bunch of guns that you're never even going to use. Like, some people probably have some weapons in there that they've had since the beginning of wipe and they're never going to use them. So it's better off to just sell those things, get your money's worth now, and that way you can put that money towards things that you're actually going to use. For example, say you have like a bunch of RBKs that are just sitting in your stash that you're never going to use because you hate that type of ammo. You can sell those RPKs and you can buy yourself an SR25 or a Mutant or an RD704, which is something that you're probably going to end up using over the RPK. Those wasted weapon slots in your stash are just money that's just sitting around doing nothing for you. And same with that armor. If you're never going to use it, then you might as well just sell it, and then worst case scenario, you can always just buy it again from the traders. If you're anything like me, then you probably hoarded all these guns and you hoarded all these armors and rigs and everything like that. And if you sell it now, you're probably gonna make at least a couple mil worth. And honestly, turning that gear into money is just worth it in the long run because it's actually gonna be put to use rather than just sitting in your stash. That's just some of the things I like to think about whenever I'm trying to make as much money as I can in Tarkov. And I hope it helps some of you newer players out that are struggling with some money. It really is as simple as just surviving each raid with a filled backpack and to clean up your stash and make as much useful money as you can. Don't hoard things that you're not going to use. Sell it and make the money because it's just going to be worth it in the long run. But don't forget to like the video, comment down below if you want to see any of the other types of videos from me, and make sure you hit that subscribe button because it means a lot to me and it's going to help the channel grow. So thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.